And welcome back, students, as we continue our work on conditionals. If you recall, last time we left off with if statements, but if you recall, we left with some results that left us with duplicate answers, like we had more than one thing get output. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to take the string part out of here for now. And let's just go back and examine this conundrum that we had with these two statements. So I'm just going to simplify it just to two if statements just so we can look at this. So if you remember, when we ran this program, all right, if I put in 3, we had more than one result. However, it can be obviously kind of confusing to see if we want one result or another. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce another conditional branch called else. Now what this does, rather than saying if something is true, it's going to say if something is true or something else is true. Kind of is a way you can kind of think about this. So here I'm going to change this just for an instant to is less than or equal to. I'm just going to change it just to a less than. And the else right here actually does not need anything other than this colon here. All right. So it's going to say if num1 is less than num2, otherwise it's going to print that it is greater than or equal to. All right, let's go ahead and run it. All right, and let's go ahead and enter this time. Since we're looking to see if it's less than, let's put 2. All right, and we get num1 is greater than or equal to num2. It really helps us to simplify what we are doing, because instead of having multiple answers get produced like we did before, we can now have more than one choice. Because with an if, and only just an if, we only have one possible thing that we can test for at any given time. However, with an if else, we can technically test for 2 things. For example, I can test to see if it's less than, or I can test to see if it's greater than or equal to. Now, I can do, of course, the same thing with a string. So I can say, like, if, let's just say word 1, I better put these back in here. Word 1 is equal to hello. Word 2 is equal to hello. And I say if word 1 is, let's say, you can't do less than, let's say is equal to word 2, print they are the same, else print they are different. All right. And if we run, all right, this time I put in 5, so we got num1 is less than num2, and you can see that the words are different because we have a lowercase and an uppercase h. All right, so that hopefully shows you how else can work. Again, this is a good way to test more than one condition. However, you will notice that we are limited to testing only 2 things. All right, if it gave us 1, adding an else allows us to do 2. But there is one other thing which we will look at next lesson, which allows us to add more than just 2 conditions. On a parting note, before I close out this lesson, I just want you to think about else also in the same way. Whereas an if tests one condition, the else will test pretty much all the rest of the conditions. It is a good way of thinking of your else as a catch-all. So it pretty much says, if this is true, do this. Otherwise, it's going to do this other thing. Now, you do not have to have an else. As we noted before in our previous lesson, we did not have an else there, and our code was just fine. You don't have to have an else every time. However, an else can be good to test certain things. But let's say if I just wanted to test if a number was less than 5. I don't need an else because I don't care if it's bigger than 5. I can just say if number is less than 5, and it would be perfectly fine. But if I wanted to see, like, say, if it's less than 5, and if it's not, I can do something else. So, like, if it's less than 5, print out it's less than 5. Otherwise, let's print out that it's greater than or equal to 5. Really quick and easy examples there. So hopefully that kind of helps you as you move into this next lesson.